おはようございます。今日の朝のフーディニ作業配信をやっていこうと思います。ちょっとまた時間が、日にちが3日ほど空いてしまいました。本当はね、毎日配信したいところなんですが、ちょっと疲れて朝起きてるけど動けないみたいな時があったりするので、まあ、少なくとも3日おきぐらいには配信していきたいなとは思ってます。えーっと、今日はパイロを使ったシミュレーションで、なんか良さげなのがあったので、それをやってみたいと思います。はい。では、で、ちょっと新しめなので、フーディーのバージョンを19にしたりしてます。エディター、デスクトップもビルドの2を作って 18.5 と同じようなレイアウトにしてあります。はい。では、動画を流します。一応マウスとかがこう出たりとかもなるようになってます。はい。
And let's dive inside and see what we get here. This setup is pretty easy. It consists of two major base things, which is pyro simulation and our popnet simulation. So we will need a sphere, and this sphere is primitive type set to polygon, radius set to 0.5.
始まっているのか、これは。ジオメトリーをいつも通り作って、スフィアを作って、お、19からセットアップがポリゴンメッシュになってる。しかもサイズも 0.5 とかになって。19のスフィアのセットアップ変わってんじゃん。こっちか。プリミティブとクリエイトの2つになったんだ。そうなんだ。で、ポリゴンで、利権仕上げると。まあ、今更なんですが、このスプレッドシート、結構シミュレーションしてるときにこのスプレッドシート出したりしてると、重さがだいぶ違ったりするんだなっていうことを知りました。
Frequency set to 10, and actually in this case you can go like 5 or something. Let's leave it at 10, because I was trying to add a mountain node to kind of displace the surface of the sphere and displace the surface of our simulation starting point. So, but that's not that necessary, to be honest. So then we have a pyro source, and
パイロソースを作ると。
we should initialize smoke, and here you see this drop down. You can click and select source smoke, and it will create these density and temperature inputs. Particle separation is set to 0.05, not that high res, but we actually don't need super high res things here. So then this is a pretty interesting little setup. So we have our point velocity. Point velocity displaces the pyro source. I added a curl noise here with a pretty big scale. Scale is set to 80, pulse duration set to 0.5.
ベロシティを作ってあげると。結構でけえな。オフセットは変えそうな気がする。いいでしょ。で、X 書き込み、シフト X、コントロール X。違う。おベロシティできてるよね。あれ何これ聞かねえ。まあいいか。何これ何これビジュアライズだよね。何これ全然変わってんだけど。どういうことはい。何これちょっと待って、全然使い方わかんない。バカでけえな。 そういうこと。デフォルトビジュアライザーないってことを増やしてあげないと。ちょっと待って、どういうこと？このタブなかった。これめんどくさ。こっから追加してあげなきゃいけないの？マジで。待ってよ。こっからワンチャンいけるか。増えてねえな。こっちに行ってんな。ちょっと別にビジュアライズいらねえもんな。なんか使い方が分かりにくくなったな。いいや。で、80って相当でけえな、このベロシティ。まあいいや。
Swirl size to 5, swirl scale to 0.02, offset, again $time because we want our noise to be animated over time, grain set to 0.1, turbulence to 0.2, and that's all, yeah.
ビジュアライザーでした方がこっちの方がまだ見やすいか。グローバルに追加するのはやっぱやだな。
And don't forget to check this add curl noise here, of course. But point velocity is not an impulse force. It will continue applying this velocity that is constantly changing because of the noise throughout all the simulation, and we don't want that. We just want one impulse that will break the uniformity of our pyro source. So that's why there's a switch node, and the expression in the switch says frame more than 2, frame number more than 2. And what it gives us is that while the frame number is less than 2, we are using the input 0, which is point velocity. And when we get to the third frame, we will be using just our pyro source with its own velocity. So that's how we can simulate the impulse, and we can, let's say if we type 10 here, we will have our point velocity influence our smoke for these first 10 frames. Yeah, that's why we just want these point velocity values for a few first frames. Then we drop a volume rasterizer.
で、ボリュームラスタライザー。ラスタライザーアトリビュート。で、アトリビュートをどうしてスケール、テンパチャー。
Attributes, and here we have to add our attributes, which is density, p scale, temperature, position, and of course velocity. Then we go to the pyro solver. First of all, the voxel size is set to 0.08, and here I can right click, select copy parameter, then go back. volume rasterize attributes, and here in the voxel size, click paste relative references, and it binds this input here. It's just for consistency, because these two inputs should be ideally set to similar values. I increased the substeps to be 2. In sourcing, I set the limit.
Step 2。ソースレンジって何？これ画面戻してなくね？ミスった。インプットソースレンジ。リミットソースレンジか。インプットシグナルフレーム。あ、フレームのことか。何これ？何これ？拡大されねえんだ。するよな。
Limit source range, and we are emitting smoke for these 30 frames. Source volumes.
ベクトーとベロシティとバーン。テンパチャーデンシティか。バーンって使われてる。バーン、あ、フレームある。
I think I added this volume 4, which is velocity. I think it should be here by default, but yeah, anyways. For the collision, limit collision range, I think nothing. Here actually changed. For the fields, density dissipation set to 0.01, and this is so our smoke is not dissipating, it remains, it keeps its shape with all these jellyfish-like bubbles and all that stuff. The lower this dissipation value is, the longer your smoke will retain its kind of like density volume value. So here's our pyro solver simulation, and let's check how it looks. This is how it looks. Now we have this pyro.
形状が違うけど、まあいいか。あれ、サブステップ上げたよね。 サブステップが足りないのかもしかして。2だよな。まあ、いっか。
2. In sourcing, I set the limit source values. Increase the substeps to be 2. In sourcing, I set the limit source range and we are emitting smoke for these 30 frames. Source volumes, I think I added this volume 4, which is velocity. I think it should be here by default, but yeah, anyways. For the collision, limit collision range, I think nothing here actually changed. For the fields, density dissipation set to 0.01, and this is so our smoke is not dissipating, it remains, it keeps its shape with all these jellyfish-like bubbles and all that stuff. The lower this dissipation value is, the longer your smoke will retain its kind of like density volume value. So here's our pyro solver simulation, and let's check how it looks. This is how it looks. Now we have this pyrosim and we can feed it into our pop network. So we get another input from our sphere and we set it to scatter. I forced the total count to be 2000. You can try with a 500 or something. It will be just faster. And here we need with a 500. Something, it will be just faster. And here we need a point wrangle and we need to assign an attribute. And this technique here with these strands, I found it a long time ago from CG Wiki or Tokerdu, so definitely check that. It has a lot of kind of like sample scenes and you can just like go through it, modify and just kind of understand how things actually work. So we need this attribute to create actual curves later. So basically we are assigning point number to our custom named attribute PTID. And this is crucial and I will explain you why we are doing that just a bit later. So then we drop a pop network and here is the setup. I organized this also a bit. So let's check what we have here. I organized this also a bit. So and here is the setup. I organized this also a bit. So let's check what we have here. Our source forced input emission type. All points geometry source is set to use first context geometry. In the burst, I want these particles to be emitted until the frame number 4. So first 3 frames we are emitting the particles. That's why there's a $SF simulation frame less than 4. Then we drop a pop advect by volumes, and here we set the velocity source to be SOP. We
ソルバーの、使うのってベルだけなの？そうだ。そしたら、
then target our pyro solver. Field name velocity is default. Advection type is set to update velocity, not update force or update position. And velocity blend to set to 0.5. I think it's by default. And then we drop a sub solver. I can show you what we get without the sub solver. So let's play that simulation. Like that. We kind of see that we have these particles moving in the range of advection, but we need curves, right? We don't need particles. So that's why let's enable the subsolver. To the DOP geometry, we need to attach the add node. Here you see
ID でつなぐのか。
we have 3 tabs: points, polygons, particles. We go to the polygons and go to the by group tab and change this add drop-down value to by attribute. An attribute name is our PT ID. It's not nearly a complete result, but
なんだこれ、入ってきてないのか。なんかおかしいな。コーラゼロだ。 ルネーム。なんかデータが入ってきてない気がするんだよな。なんだこれ。ソルバーと勘違いした。ソップソルバーか。この回数じゃ使えねえな。ドップのとか。この動物ロップネット、チュートリアルフェッチ。やってそうなんだけどな。スタンプインプットジオメトリ。明らかにデータが引っ張ってこれてない気がすんな。どうなってんだこれ。電池とか関係ないよな。ここに、このデータを別で入れるってことか。データ与えてあげなきゃいけない。やばい、これはマジでわからん。じゃあこれ、あれ、作り直したらいけた。わけがわかんねえよ。 これ謎すぎんな。なんだ。作り直したらいけたな。
Curves, right? We don't need particles. So that's why let's enable the subsolver. To the DOP geometry, we need to attach the add node. Here you see we have three tabs: points, polygons, particles. We go to the polygons and go to the by group tab and change this add drop-down value to by attribute. An attribute name is our PT ID. It's not nearly a complete result, but you see that we have some curves between the points. Why we need this attribute? Because if I type ptnum here, it doesn't work. And we have a warning here: invalid attribute specification ptnum, because we don't have that attribute here. So that's why ptid. So now we kinda connect the points by their ptid, but that's not good, because we have some points that were pushed by their velocity too far, and we are connecting these points that are really far away from each other, and we don't have any sort of subdivisions or smooth lines. Then we can add a resample node, and by default, if you add the resample node and you dial
これはちょっとわからんな。結構いろいろパラメータ変えてくんな。で、プリミティブアトリビュートオーバーライドパラメータアトリビュートの動きを許可しないってこと。ラストバーテックスでサブディビジョンカーブと。一気に重くなったな。ダメだ、全然これキャッシュ足りねえじゃん。どうしようか。これ重っ。これちょっと重すぎんな。エスケープでキャンセルしたらキャッシュって残んね
let's say here in the length you dial 0.05, this resample node will be messing with all the particles we are adding in these three frames while we are emitting. And that's why it looks really strange, and we have too many particles or curves appearing here. Yeah, it's a weird result here. And the magic checkbox is here. Create only points. If we check that, we can resim it. Now you see that we have all these particles that
LINE でつなげたってリサンプルしてサブディビジョンしてパーティクルのポイントに戻したかったってだけ。
already look like lines. After that, we will need to drop a convert line node and compute length set to rest length. It's a default. Parameter, just drop that convert line. Now we can go back from our popnet and let's play the simulation once more. This looks cool to me. So now we drop an add node. Here you can see it's an add node, just like the one we dropped in the popnet. I just renamed it to curves appear. The magic behind this add node is because we did a resample in the popnet, we actually have our attributes PTID in a correct way, and we can just go through these points that have these attributes PTID, and they will connect into beautiful and subdivided curves. So let me show you once again.
ファイルキャッシュして、色になる。コントロールシフト右クリックじゃなかったっけ。60フレぐらい取っとくか。バックグラウンドにすればよかった。 で、なんだこれ。これ勝手にチェックついたもしかして。うん。OK。で、後でつなげば。なるほど。
again.
カラーを作ってあげる終わりか。
Now we just need to colorize them. And we can do that by attribute. So we have our PTID and the range should be from 0 to your force total count value here. And actually we can do a better way. So right click to the force total count value here. And we can do that by attribute. So we have our
レンジをね。ライト。
PTID and the range should be from 0 to your force total count value here. And actually we can do a better way. So right click to the force total count and click copy parameter. And here in the color, you can double click this value 2000, which is our total count of the particles. Right click on that and choose paste relative references. And now if you change this total count, the upper value of the range of our color ramp also will change automatically. And we can probably do that for all the colors. Paste relative references. All good here. So for the gradients here, here's the magic button. So you can do any sort of gradients. And I think this one is some sort of, I know, it's maybe a twilight or something. But you see that you can get pretty cool results just by, clicking these. I think it was Inferno. Yeah, it's Inferno, but modified a bit. So yeah, there are 4 color variations for this one. And then I again cached that out, 240 frames. So the rendering on the farm is faster. And by the way, this project was also rendered on Fox Farm, and these guys are again killing that with that speed and price. So 150 frames cost me around 12 bucks. This one is for the second camera angle, and 240 frames took me 15 bucks. Here I'm rendering 10 frames per one node, and here I'm rendering 5 frames per one node. So it's up to you. You can render that 10 or 5. I'm just still testing that, but this farm is seriously good, and you can find my affiliate link down in the description. I know that sounds unreal, but if you want your renders done fast and cheap, check these guys out. Now back to our Redshift setup. So I have 3 Redshift lights here in this scene. 1, 2, and 3. All of them are kind of standard.
ルートシフトのセットアップもやるのか。それがpyroシュミレーションの形状が微妙だな。 と。スライド。これどうやろうか。カメラがこう来てるから。どうこないんですか。で、して。違う。ミスってもこれ。まあいいか。明らかに40ことじゃねえな、これ。間違えた。あれショートカット忘れたな。コントロール2か。コントロール。これはフロント。ライトでトップか。あれやめた。これを見たとき。 一旦これでいってみようか。バックライト。
And I'm not a Redshift pro. This is my second project using Redshift, so my settings might not be the best ones. If you have any comments regarding the Redshift, you're more than welcome to share your knowledge with me in the comments below. Here I have two cameras. One is my kind of like a main shot, and the second one is this close-up shot here. For the materials, I think here we have our Redshift network, and I have just one material which gets the CD attribute from the particles, feeds that to the material, adjusted the roughness a bit, and And yeah, that's basically it for my geo here. I set the render to be strands with a global scale multiplier set to 0.4. And yeah, my material is here. For the render settings, I'm using 2.4. I set the render to be strands with a global scale multiplier set to 0.4. And yeah, my material is here. For the render settings, I'm using minimum samples set to 200. Here for the render settings, I'm using minimum samples set to
バージョン違うのか待って。
256
オートマチックにサンプリングするのは自分でサンプリングできるか。サンプルかに。これはちょっと。
max samples to 1024, overriding reflections and lights. Six max samples to 1024, over overriding reflections. and lights, globals, and for the global illumination, covering reflections and lights, global,
トランスペアレンシを下げる。
and for the global illumination, trace.
これめっちゃめちゃ良くなりそうなんだ。
That's set 4, brute force set to 2048, coast. It's disabled. Let's fire up our render view to check if everything's good here. Yep, so this is our
時間かかるな、さすが。
second camera. Let's get back to cam 1 and we have this, this beautiful setup. Alright guys, so that's it for today. If you enjoy my tutorials, I will be very glad to see your like on this video. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you don't miss the notifications about new tutorials. Remember, I am doing these 2 times a week and I am able to do that only because of you guys support me and purchase my project files, and I am really grateful to every one of you. I will be back very soon. Bye.
一旦終わりました。今回のチュートリアルでは、パイロソルバーとポップネットでパーティクルのシミュレーションをするところがポイントで、基本的にパイロのあたりは、ベーシックなセットアップ、パイロソースで、ソース作って、ポイントベロシティでフォースを与えてあげ、フォースじゃねえか。ベロシティを与えてあげて、で、ボリュームラスタライズで、ボリューム化して、それでパイロのシミュレーションに使いますと。で、ポップネットワークの方は、普通にスキャッターで使ったポイントをそのままパーティクルのシミュレーションに使ってた感じですね。で、多分アドベクトバイボリュームで、そのパーティクルの動きのシミュレーションみたいのをパイロソルバーのシミュレーション結果から引っ張ってきたみたいな感じですかね。で、ちょっとこのソップソルバーはだいぶなんかうまく中にトップのデータが渡ってこなくてなんでだってなって作り直したらうまくいったんですが、ここで各パーティクルに対して 計算してあげてるって感じですね。一個一個に。ちょっとこのコンバートライン何してんのかよくわかんないですけど。まあ、アドでラインにした後にリサンプルで、アドの時点では直線的なラインができちゃう、線になっちゃってたので、それをリサンプルでサブディビジョンカーブかけて、滑らかな線にしてあげた後に、そのままだと線なので、ポイントにしてあげると。で、キャッシュ取って、アドで線としてつなぐみたいな感じです。結構このアドで ID、バイグループでバイアトリビュートでポイント ID みたいので、こう、パーティクルを線にしてあげるみたいな、割とオーソドックスなワークフローな気がします。あとその後に色つけるのも、まあ、パーティクルの ID の01のレンジを、マッピングし、01じゃないか、パーティクル数をマッピングしてあげるみたいな感じですね。はい。じゃあ、あとは、適当にレンダリングしておきます。はい、ありがとうございました。